Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Corey from Sea Change Education. First of all, I want to thank you everyone for joining us. I know today is a school day, and for many parents and teachers, it is still a very, very busy time of the day. So thank you so much for joining us today. So today I will be going through all of the rule sets, registration process, and some of the important reminders of the fourth IPDC. And if at any point, if you have any questions, please feel free to type your questions into the chat. I will either answer them immediately or I can answer all of your questions in a Q&A section at the very end of the briefing section. You can ask us any questions about the rule set, about how to register, about sending students through your school, or even registering as individuals participants. You're also welcome to ask us anything about the date, about any particular point that I may not have made clear in this briefing section here today. So welcome everyone joining us. Oh, okay. So this is our fourth IPDC. So previously, Seachings have hosted 3 different IPDC competitions before, and we have always had the same philosophy of promoting debate and the love of English language to all of our students, not just in Hong Kong, but all over the world. So today, I'm very, very honored to introduce you about the objectives of our competition here. I will also go through our committee members, some important information, and what awards can our students be given at the end of the competition. So Sea Change Education is a debate center, and we host this debate competition because we want to promote the love of debate and getting to know the world more. We value communication skills, we value critical thinking, and beyond all, we value communications between students who live in different countries. We want to create a platform where students get to make friends with each other, friends who share the same goal and the same vision. And we also want to promote speaking and critical thinking among students all over the world. We value critical thinking in the sense that all of our debate motions are current issues that are happening in the world right now today, which are of the utmost importance. We want students to have their own opinions on these issues and on the way also develop their problem-solving skills. We want to nurture a love of English language, promote a platform where they can meet like-minded teenagers or friends who share the same passion as well. That is why our competition is not just limited to students in Hong Kong. In our last IPDC, we actually have students coming from 8 different countries, including the Philippines, Indonesia, Korea, and all the way to the US. We truly believe that debate is one of the most important skills you can have in our society today. It allows you to make friends. It allows you to communicate your ideas to different parties, even allows you to perform well into your future when you're a teacher, when you're the president of a very, very important organization, and its values is celebrated by all of our teachers and educators alike. So our committee members, including Rita. So Rita is our founder and educator. So Rita specializes in teaching debate and public speaking. She's also the director of the Harvard Club of Hong Kong Education. And we also have Miss Hussaina. So Miss Hussaina is our academic director. So she has a lot of experiences in curriculum developing across the different education systems in Hong Kong. She has actually also work in different sectors of the education. And right now she's helping out with our competitions, our curriculum, and she's also helping us to create different levels in our curriculums that is suited for all of the students. And then I also am part of the committee. So I teach public speaking and debate in Sea Change. I'm also in charge of coordinating the curriculum, and I also am in charge of supporting the teachers in Sea Change. So we also have our adjudication committee. So we have Ms. Mac here. So Ms. Mac will be in charge of all of our admin and technical side of things. And then we also have Rita and myself here. For our judges, so we have people coming from different walks of life. So we have lawyers from some of the top firms in Hong Kong. We also have invited a lot of debate veterans, some of them debating in national level and international level. So all these are either debate veterans or current debating champions from all over the world. So we also try our best to recruit judges from all over the world, including Indonesia, Korea, and the US, so that we have a very diverse panel of judges that can give us different insight. So here are some of the details about the competition. So this year, the competition will be on the 28th and the 29th of January 2023. So it's a Saturday and Sunday. So depending on which level you're in, you will be competing at a different time. But I do suggest everyone here to reserve 2 whole days for the competition, as the final break will actually be on the Sunday, so which is the second day afternoon. So depending on, again, which level you're competing or whether you break into the quarterfinals or finals, your timing of competing will be slightly different. So the format is that we will have an online competition via Zoom, which means all of the students will be required to have their own device, which they are visible from the waist up, and a clear microphone and camera, which the judges can, number one, identify you, and number two, listen to your arguments, and also at the same time look at your body language, gesture, and delivery. So this competition is open to students from age 10 to 18, so which is equivalent to upper primary to upper secondary in Hong Kong. So depending on your grade, you will be slotted into different categories. The only difference is this year, instead of separating students into the advanced and beginners level at the beginning, we'll actually have a big pool of students, which they will all participate in the same round one, which is completely randomized in its drawing. And then from second and third rounds on, all the way into the outbreaks, we will be running it through power pairing, which students will be actually categorized based on their scores and the number of wins. So the time this year, so like I said before, so the time zone will be Hong Kong time zone, but the competition itself will run from morning to the afternoon. So I do recommend everyone to reserve 2 whole days for the competition. So stage 1 of the competitions will be your registration and payment. So school or individuals who wish to compete should fill in the Google form here. So this Google form here will have all of your basic information, and more importantly, it will also ask about your debate experiences and whether you have completed before, your competition experiences, in which will help me help us make the decision whether you can be break into the North list or you'll be break into the advanced or open category. So once your payment is done, you will be confirmed as our competitors. So school can enter 4 teams, which is equivalent to 8 participants. And if you wish to enter more teams into the competition, so you will be waitlisted. So school who have less team will be prioritized. And then if at the end of the registration, there are spots left, then you can basically enter more than 4 teams. But we will again prioritize schools that have less than 4 teams so that we can have an open opportunity to all of the school in Hong Kong. And school who are entering 2 teams or more will be given a free school boot camp, in which we'll have coaches talking about the format of the competitions and also covering some of the areas that we will be debating in the actual competition. So here are the timetable of the competition. So like I said before, the competition will start quite early on in the morning. So on day 1, so we'll have the morning section being our upper primary division. So as you can see, each division here actually have 3 rounds of debate. So schools are expected to register at 8:30, and then from that point on, students will participate in 3 different rounds of debate, in which they were given a preparation time and subsequently round 1, 2, and 3 of the debate. So the same day, you'll actually be able to know the results of your break and whether you make it into the quarterfinals. And the quarterfinals will actually be on the afternoon section of day 2. So like I said before, it will go on for the whole morning. So upper primary will be the morning section on the 28th. So the afternoon section on day 1 will be lower secondary. And then the second day will have the morning section being the upper secondary division. And all of our finalists will be invited back to the afternoon section of the finals. So as you can see here, each and every single one of our division will compete 3 different times. So this is to make sure that students, number 1, can get comfortable and confident in their speaking as the rounds progress. And also it will give the judges a better chance to get to know the students a little bit more, so that even when students are nervous or not perform the best in the first round, they have a second chance to basically get themselves together, prepare a little bit more, and get comfortable with the setting and environment, and then subsequently, hopefully, will perform their best. So this time, our debate format will be a modified American parliamentary debate format, which means instead of 3 people, which a lot of schools in Hong Kong use, British parliamentary debate, we'll actually only have 2 speakers in a team. So we'll have the first speaker and the second speaker. So we have also modified the speech time to be a little bit shorter, so the students who are both beginner and more advanced can both enjoy the competition. We will do 3 speeches per team, which means the rebuttal speech at the end will be done by the first speaker again. So the first speaker basically will speak twice in the same debate. And in our debates, there will be no crossfires or POI. Basically, you're not allowed to ask questions during your opponent is speaking. All of your questions that you want to challenge your opponents with, or all of the rebuttals that you would like to do, should be done in your own rebuttal speeches or any of your speeches. Here are the speaking times. So the affirmative side will speak first for 4 minutes, and then we have the first speech from the negative side. And then we'll have 2 speeches, which are both 5 minutes. And last but not least, as I mentioned before, the first speaker will speak again on the rebuttal. However, this time, the opposition side, the negative rebuttal, will go first, and then we'll end the debate with the affirmative rebuttal. Since this is an impromptu debate, so the preparation time will be shorter. So the motion will be announced as you are entering the competition on the day. So after the announcement of the motion, students will be put into breakout room in which they have 20 minutes to prepare for round 1 and 15 minutes to prepare for round 2 and 3 and all of the out rounds. So I will explain a little bit more on how the preparation will work a little bit later. So in the debate, we also allowed internet research, which means students are welcome to go on the internet to search for evidence, to search for related arguments. However, plagiarism and blatant copying is not acceptable. That means although you're allowed to find information to support your argument, like statistic, news article, scholar study, you're not allowed to just read out the arguments that you find online. So any cases that were found to be plagiarizing will be punished by deducted points. And if it is a really, really serious cases, we might even considering disqualifying our candidates. So for all of the sources that you use, we highly recommend you to actually, number 1, only use the statistic and important information, and number 2, cite your references in the debate. I can see that someone has a question. Someone has raised their hand. If you could unmute yourself, I'll try my best to answer your question. Okay, if not, don't worry. You can ask me anything in the Q&A section later on. So let me come back to our rule set. So yes, like I said before, plagiarism is definitely not acceptable in our competition. And last but not least, I will also talk about how do we break and how do we proceed students into our round. So like I said in the beginning, so this year, instead of having like an advanced and beginner pool at the very beginning, we actually will have all of our students in the same pool. So we'll have all of our students competing in round one by a completely random draw. So which means we'll just enter all of our teams in a computer system, and then they will draw the matches, the pairing randomly, in which student will actually be given a score, and whether they will know whether they win or lose in their first round. And then on to the second round, we'll actually do power pairing, which means we do actually pair students according to the score that they get in round one, so that students can have a more meaningful conversation with students that are more or less on the same level and proficiency in terms of debate and English language. So whether a student can break into open break or no vice break actually based on the answers that they give us in the application form. So in the application form, we actually ask questions such as whether English is their first language, for example, whether they have any debate experiences before, or if they were in their school debate team or any tournaments. So based on their experiences, they will be given a open break or no vice break. But this also depends on other students, like comparatively where you stand. So your actual eligibility will be given to you closer to competition day. So the top 8 teams out of 36 in each category will then break into our quarterfinal. So whether you break or not will base on 2 things. So number one is your number of wins out of the 3 debates. Like, for example, we'll prioritize teams that have 3 wins over 2 or 1 win. And then the second thing that we also look at is your total speaker score. So for example, a team that have 3 wins will still trump someone who have 2 wins but a higher speaker score, because the first thing that we look at is students' performance in a team. So that the first thing that we look at is number of teams, and then if there is a tie between, let's say there is more than 8 teams that have 2 wins, then we'll move on to look at student individual score, and then we'll proceed the team with the highest score and maybe a higher or equal number of wins. And if there is a situation in which the speaker is absent due to sickness or due to traveling plan or any unforeseen circumstances, we will unfortunately have to do the Ironman, which I'll explain a little bit later. But I do want to encourage everyone, if you have any absence, please do let us know in advance so that we can make arrangements. And for school, since you have the capability, I do encourage you to have a spare teammate ready so that if there is any unforeseen circumstances, the teammate can fill in the spot. So Ironman is when a speaker needs to make all the speeches. Because we do enter only 36 teams, which means if a team is absent, they will leave a team without any opponent. So we do encourage school to try their best to have some spare teammates so that they can fill in the gap. Or if you're an individual participant, please do advise us of your absence as soon as possible so that we can make arrangements. However, if unfortunately, there will be no spare teammate, we do run the Ironman method, which means one of the teammates will have to make all 3 speeches in the debate. However, if that teammate participate using the Ironman method, so he or she will not be qualified to break into the out rounds, to break into the quarterfinals and final, and will not be given any speaker awards. So this is just to deter school and individuals participants from dropping out last minute. So, and then our judging panels come from all over the world, and they are from the US and Hong Kong and different. They are either lawyers or national debaters. And then they will judge our students based on 3 big categories. So number one is matter. So matter is our substance of the debate, so the actual content, so whether the content is based on reliable sources, whether the content is unique and creative, and whether their rebuttals is made in a technical and quick manner. So the next one is manner. So manner is everything to do with our delivery. So student style, whether they are calm and composed, whether they are polite, whether they have pointed out the flaws in the opponent's arguments politely and subsequently made effective rebuttal. And last but not least, we have method. So method is all about organization and strategy. Like, for example, if we have two speakers here, whether their arguments are repeating each other, or if they all have their unique arguments, so it will show a good organization. We also look at whether the two speakers contradict themselves to see whether they work well as a team. So strategies refer to all of your debate skills, such as, for example, non-unique weighing. So we do look at whether students can employ different strategies. If they are advanced speaker, whether they have employed different strategies in their speeches so that they can actually showcase that they have, in fact, an arsenal of different techniques that they were using in the debate. And for our motions, you will actually only know on the day of the debate. But something that you do know now is that our debate topics actually cover 6 big categories. So number 1 is our art and culture. So anything to do with human culture, for example, should museums be free to all of the teenagers in Hong Kong? It can be something that related to books, fairy tales, so everything to do with art and culture. So the next big category is climate change and all of our environmental issues. For example, fast fashion should be banned. So students should equip themselves with, for example, knowledge about global warming, whether certain hot topics today, like how do they related to global warming. And I would really recommend students for all of these topics here to keep themselves updated with all of the current news these days, and just in general try to have a critical mindset in their daily life so that they will be well prepared for any of the topics here. So the next category is economics, and then we also have science and technology, for example, AI, whether AI should replace teachers. We have social issues and all of the political issues as well in the same category. This can be anything concerns about asylum seekers, refugees, or even body images and social media among teenagers these days. And last but not least, we have sports and leisure. For example, one year we did do whether Olympics should be abolished or should be kept as a means to promote harmony within the international community. So these are some of our previous motions for your reference. So for example, fairy tales positively impact people. You can see that we have motions that are very current as well. So COVID-19 vaccination should be mandatory. And we also have some of the motions being hypothetical, in which students are required to be more creative and be out of the box with their arguments. For example, the last one here, assuming it is scientifically possible, humans should be immortal. So you can see that although a lot of the topics here are actually evidence-based, we do sometimes have motions that are more challenging in a different sense, in which students really have to be creative and critical about their arguments here. But like I said before, keep themselves updated with all of the latest news, because 15 minutes is really not a long time. So to start any research from scratch will be difficult. However, if you are well informed about different news outlets that are available online, it might actually help your research in a very short period of time. So preparation time, like I said, in the first round will be 20 minutes. And in all of the other rounds, including the out rounds, it will be 15 minutes. So generally, I do encourage students to use the preparation time this way. So I encourage all of the students to spend the first 1 minute just to brainstorm about their arguments individually. And then I do recommend students to use a device to communicate, or Google Form. I personally really like Google Document because you can have two students editing at the same time and they're allowed to see each other arguments. So I would recommend the first minute to be silent thinking, in which both students think about their own arguments. And then the second minute, you can actually type all of your arguments onto the Google Documents so that you and your teammate can actually see what arguments each other have come up with and choose the best for you to use in the debate. And then you can use the next 2 minutes to divide work. Like I said before, your arguments should not be repeating or contradicting each other. So these 2 minutes here are extremely important. So you can, for example, if I have 4 points here, you can do some allocation. For example, I would take A, B, and you would take C, D. And not only do you have to divide it for when you're actually speaking, you should divide it for when you're writing the actual substance of the debate, and also when you're doing your research, so that you can actually be able to complete everything that you want to talk about in the 15 minutes of time. So after 2 minutes of discussion within yourself, I do recommend to use the next 8 minutes, which is the biggest chunk of your time, to actually do research and write your arguments. 8 minutes will not allows you to write a whole speech sentence by sentence. So it's very, very important that we only write in bullet points and we'll only write down the most important arguments. I do recommend you to cite your references so that when you're speaking, you can use phrases like, according to the UK government, according to the NHS, so that you can show that you do actually cite your reference, you respect your references, and there's no plagiarism going on in your speeches. And then last but not least, remember to save the last 2 minutes of the preparation time to check in, to see if your teammates need any help, and to see if they have run into any problem that you might have to replace some of the arguments or just take away a whole entire argument in the last minute. I do recommend you to really, really do that so that you go into the debate, know where you and your teammates stand. So on the day, since this is an online competition, during preparation time, you'll actually be placed in the breakout room with your opponent, which means if you unmute yourself and talk openly in the breakout room, your opponents will be able to hear you as well. That is why I would really suggest you guys to use Google Document, in which you can edit at the same time and still see what each other is talking about, and a separate device like, for example, WhatsApp, or just any application that will allow you to talk to your roommate, talk to your teammate, even though you're muted in the breakout room. This is because we do want to make sure that our students are not getting outside help. That is why you'll be placed in the same breakout room with your opponents and one of our admin as well, so that we can make sure that all of the students are indeed working independently by themselves and not receiving any outside help. And here are some other warm reminders. Number one, take notes using pen and pencil or Google Document during the debate. That is because rebuttals can only be made when you know what your opponents are talking about. So listen really, really carefully. Never use the time that your opponent is speaking to refine your own arguments, because that would mean that you will only present your own arguments without actually responding to your opponents. Listening carefully is actually just as important as making good arguments, because you must listen in order to make good rebuttal, in order to engage. So I do really, really recommend to use a piece of paper to write down some of the main arguments that your opponents have made, so that when you're making your speeches, the first thing that you do is to make effective rebuttal and tell the judge why your arguments are more important, or why your side is valid but your opponent's side is not. Remember to also test your audio and your camera beforehand. Like I said before, you must be visible from your chest up, which means your face, everything, your hand gesture can also be captured by the camera, so that the judges can really see that you do have your delivery and your speaking style, instead of just your head or like really, really close up to the camera, or having no camera at all, which the judges will not be able to give you any points when it comes to your delivery. So on the day, judges will remind you when there's only 1 minute left. However, I do recommend you to have a timer or your phone by yourself so that you can also time yourself at the same time. You know how much time you have left, and therefore shorten or expand your speeches a little bit more. So to be more specific, there's no minimum time request. So your speeches can be as short as 1 minute. However, utilizing your time more effectively do show that you have good organization, and be able to speak at a certain pace also depends on how much time you have. So having a timer by your side will be really, really useful on the day. And we do offer competition boot camp and school programs for different school and individual who wish to sign up. So for school, we'll have a one-off boot camp in which we cover all of the debate topics. And we'll also talk about the speech structures, how to organize their speeches, and also some of the strategies that students can use in the debate that day, and actually in any potential future debates. So for our school programs, which we offer to different schools on a regular basis, so we do talk about argumentation, debating strategies, rebuttal strategies, and we also actually debate with students wide range of topics on a regular basis. So if any schools or any individuals are interested in signing up with us for regular or one-off debate classes, do let the admin know. And then we hope that we can help you to try our best to help you before the competition, so the students feel equipped and confident coming into the debate. So here is the award list. So for each category, we do have different winners. So they will receive different awards, and some of them will even receive scholarship in which they can use to participate in sea change courses in debate and public speaking. This year, we actually do have a Best Motion Award, and we're really, really excited. I'm really, really excited about this award. So the Best Motion Award is open to all of our students, parents, and teachers. So students and teachers and parents are welcome to submit your own motion. We'll actually pick the best motion from the pool, and that motion will be used in the actual competition, which is really, really exciting. So if you're interested in submitting like any motions, you can think about what you're interested in. So what is important in our society today, do submit the motion, and I hope your motion will be picked and used in the actual competition.